So I think it looks like we have, I downloaded 13 files from you guys, so I'm gonna try to keep it to around like 10-ish minutes per crit, or like maybe more like 8 minutes, and that should get through everyone in the allotted 2 hours for the class. So anywho, I'm just gonna throw, I've made this beautiful TIFF file that I can use to just like open things in the image viewer. All right, so anything you want to just like say before we start looking at your stuff?
Yeah, I had redone this throne 5 times.
Yes.
Completely.
I do see the changes that you made since last time I saw it.
Yeah. The UVs kept every single time getting messed up after exporting.
Weird.
Box. Even the best one that I have here, still some slight stuff like in the.
Okay.
If you go to the throne. Yeah. Yeah, on the back, like at the top, it gets really stretched.
Gotcha.
And like for some reason, low res for the bottom maps near the top.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. There's just small things like that in some corners.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty much how I want it.
Cool. I like how you put the little tree thing on the side of the helmet as well. All right, so yeah, so again, kind of like same stuff as last week. So looking for like lighting, textures of objects, how well the composition of the room holds up, et cetera, things you like, things that you think maybe could be improved, etc. So, yeah, would anyone like it darker in here? Or? Right. So what? Sure. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so we're closing blinds. Is there anybody that has thoughts, comments about anything here? Beads. Did you actually? I was actually curious. Did you end up? I like the texture on these beads.
The what?
I mean, they kind of look like plastic pony beads, but like it's an interesting texture. Did you end up doing anything with Mash like afterwards, or had you pretty much done this before?
It was actually all in Unity.
Oh, okay.
I was messing around with materials a lot.
Mm.
Okay, so if you couldn't tell, this is in Unity. Yeah, I was messing around with some transparency and the detail maps.
Yeah.
Detail albedos that
Gotcha.
Unity has. And I'll have some really cool like normals on it. So.
Yeah.
I really like that haircut you made.
Oh, that wasn't mine. Yeah, so the things circled are things that I didn't do. I forgot to circle it there. In the submission thing, it said circle things that you didn't do.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I did make is what I did make was the comb and the mug, but I made the helmet, the jewelry, and the lamp.
Oh, okay. Well, the helmet, there's some really nice roughness to it, or like texture on it, which is really nice. Like,
Yeah.
it looks very like used and dirty, like in a good way.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, I
can
added
hear.
the dirt actually like really late. It was a few days ago. It
Okay.
was like just pretty clean.
Mhm.
And then I added some dirt on top of it.
Gotcha. I still like this. I know it's not your object. I still think it's funny that there is a meat smoker thing in here.
Yeah.
Um.
So yeah, the things in this that are mine are the lamp and jewelry, and then the throne and the helmet.
Yeah. And then I see there's another like one of these guys chilling on the floor.
Yeah.
For
It looks. I like the lighting in the night pictures better.
Gotcha.
It's just like super red.
Ooh. Whoa. That's like super angry lighting, but like pretty cool. So how did you end up in Unity doing like the flame stuff? Because I do like the sort of soft glow that you've gotten here.
So I had 2 like deformed spheres that I made in Unity. I mean in Maya. And they were just part of it. I just deactivated them for the
Right. Oh yeah.
day photo. But I just put an emission on them.
Gotcha.
With 2 point lights.
Okay.
For each one.
Makes sense.
And there was a lot of tampering with intensity and range.
Oh, I believe it.
Things like that. Because Unity has this weird thing where lights have importance.
Right.
Over
Oh,
lights.
yeah.
So like if you have a light that just becomes within range of another light, the other lights won't
Care about
be
it.
calculated at all.
I can see why they do that.
Yeah.
It's weird though. If there's a way, I know there's a way, I don't know what it is. I know there's a way to do shadows in Unity. If shadows could be had, I think that would be
Yeah.
lovely.
I did find out how to do shadows.
Yeah. Okay.
but it takes
Forever.
a really long time. It's
Yeah.
called, yeah. So you give everything that has a texture a light map,
Mm.
which can be auto-generated
Right.
through Unity.
Right.
And then you set up baking.
That's neat.
Which can take
Forever.
like literally 8 hours.
Yeah. No, baking
if you're, like,
sucks.
generating how long it's gonna be for like 30 minutes. I'm just gonna be like, all right, next 7 hours, I'm just gonna sit here and bake.
That's pretty much baking.
Yeah, I didn't have the time for that.
That is fair.
In the latest version, there might be real-time shadows.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this I ended up using the real-time
Okay.
shadows here. It's just that the hard shadows
Right.
don't show up that well.
Gotcha. I do. This is really cool lighting. I also like that you've added lights in here in this little meat thing.
Yeah, I tried to make flames for the pit and it looked so bad, so I just decided
Card
to put lights
fire.
in there.
Yeah. I probably would have just thrown some like cards in there, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cards with an emission is like you can make. If you go on Sketchfab, you see like a bunch of people doing similar stuff like that, and it usually comes out pretty nicely. But yeah, I do very much like the sort of artsy direction you've gone with like hardcore, very like targeted areas of light in the night renders. I almost feel like this could be a little brighter. And again, if you had like flames in here, it would be a better indicator of like how bright that should be. I feel like this would be like a very low sort of like burning embers thing rather than like flames. I was gonna say if there's actual flames, I would expect this area to maybe be slightly brighter. But yeah, I do.
Did you put the lights in both the logs or like in it?
I put actually 3 point lights in the fire pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like having them in, like under the logs, kind of makes sense because I feel like, to a certain extent, with fire, the brightest part is usually like the under part of the logs, where it's like the hottest.
Yeah, it's under the log.
Yeah.
You can, like, tell they're, like,
Yeah. I think just like most of my comments would be, I mean, apart from like it would be nice to have shadows, which is I think like a few of the textures get like a little bit low res, mostly like the ones on the walls, like right over here. Here it looks like there's some weird pinching happening. Not entirely sure what caused that, but and then like maybe the floor is kind of low as well. And then I think when you get, I like how this is like old medieval, and then you just have like a nice like park scene outside.
Yeah, I forgot to
comp that out.
the skyline.
Yeah. It's always kind of funny to see that kind of stuff.
Museum.
Yeah, is this like a boardwalk right now?
It's Brooklyn Bridge.
Interesting. Where was I going? There's a render, like this one where you get really close on the table. I think, like I do agree that like the helmet or the texture of the helmet looks really nice. Where especially there's like one render somewhere where you had a sort of angle of this and you got like a lot of nice sort of little reflections in there.
Yeah, you probably see it on the turntable.
Yeah. Or like even right here where you see like that bump map. I do like the texture on the helmet. But I was gonna say, so I think for the table texture, if you're gonna get this close to it, I might twiddle with these so that they are a little bit less dotty.
Okay.
Yeah,
the table wasn't done by me either.
Oh,
It was,
never mind.
Nick.
Yeah,
Tim.
yeah, but you have to look, and it's we went to a weird setting what textures in the table where I had to, when I fixed it, when I attached it to the material, it said that was fine, but it
Oh.
was yellow. So I had to like
Well, that's appealing.
go to settings and
Interesting.
change it to like apply as black and white, and then change the depth within that setting.
Yeah, there were
Bizarre.
also some scaling issues that we had. I brought
Gotcha.
the table into my scene. It was upside down, and I had to scale it up by 4,000. So.
That sounds like me doing most things in Maya. I make
Yeah.
people that are like 2 centimeters tall.
This was like less than a millimeter tall. I didn't understand how.
Gotcha.
Scaled it that way.
Yeah, things messed up while exporting some things.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think overall, like, this looks pretty good. Again, most of the stuff I would play with is probably just, like, maybe fiddling with some of the texture stuff. And then I think there's, like, every once in a while, like, I think this is, like, I don't know what it is. Something, it's like appropriately cluttered, but it feels like intentionally cluttered,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Where it feels like, oh, I have a table, I need to like put things on it so it's not empty,
Yeah.
kind of thing. If there was like some way to maybe arrange the stuff so it didn't feel like quite so like organized chaos, that would be interesting. Like, for some reason I'm like, oh, just take these axes and put like a pile of them on the floor. I'm like, that seems ridiculous as well. But yeah, like, I also wouldn't necessarily be afraid to like cluster some of this stuff together on the table maybe, because everything is like kind of equally spaced.
Yeah,
It's like weird small. I don't know.
I had done like 5 cups on the table.
Yeah.
With, like a lot of jewelry, but the jewelry was like a little too
Overwhelming.
repetitive.
Yeah.
And the amount of cups was like, I'm like, who's gonna have 10 cups on this workshop table? I'm like, I know I have 5 cups on my table. In
Yeah.
my room because I don't clean anything.
That's I relate to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, for some reason I really like this render. But yeah, I mean, like, I think like overall things look pretty good. Most of the stuff I would play with is just kind of like texturing stuff. And then maybe if there was a way, like in certain renders, where's my cursor? It gets like a little bit empty-ish kind of like up here, or like on the walls. So if there's a way, again, maybe just like either,
Shield over there too, like put another shield.
yeah, like throw a shield in, put like an axe wall. Even you could put a shelf filled with cups. But yeah. Or plates. You can actually throw some plates on the table. I don't know. Again, I'm just saying random things, but yeah, cool. Any other thoughts and comments? All right. Last call. Okay. Cool.
Oh, we're not doing anything.
Oh yeah. I usually just look at those. Do you want to look at it specifically? Yeah.
I mean, you said you wanted to get a better look at the.
Oh yeah, my bad. Reference turntable. Let's see if I can open. I can. That's exciting. Ooh, yes, indeed. Curse you. It's like a little bit fast. I think it could be slowed down like really easily. But yeah, I mean, it does do a good job of like showing off the different textures and stuff on here. There's a setting for looping this. What is it?
Yeah.
To toggle. Great. I never use VLC. But yeah. I think, is there any kind of like roughness map on this?
Roughness?
Yeah.
No, not that I remember.
Gotcha. That'd be really cool, especially if you see it like moving with the light coming over it. That would like really, really help the textures pop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that you actually did stuff with the wood.
Oh, yeah, that was a default. I just made a cylinder.
Yeah.
In Unity, but there was like a default
Crate texture.
and normal map from post processing something like from Unity.
Gotcha. Interesting. But yeah, no, I like it. And I feel like, I mean, this gets like super black over here, but I feel like in this case it actually kind of helps show off the object, so it's like not completely ridiculous looking.
Yeah, I intentionally darkened the back wall.
Okay.
For it to pop off
Yeah.
because I had it at normal color,
Mhm.
and it just kind of was blending in with it.
Yeah.
The helmet's a lot more brown than
Yeah.
the lighting that I had.
This makes sense.
So I just darkened the back wall.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna keep going. We need to get to everyone, but yeah. No, looks cool. All right. So anyone else want to volunteer their project? Oh, what?
I have the.
Oh, do you have the final look right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have an event that I'm doing at the Sierra building.
Gotcha.
I kinda have to
Go for it.
News and stuff. Okay.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Have a lovely summer. You're graduating, aren't you? All right. Anyway, volunteers, or am I just gonna go in order? Order it is. Haha. Actually, wait. I have already opened. I have pre-downloaded some files in an attempt to be organized. All right. Cool. So, all right. You want to give us or like anything you want to comment before we go into crit for this? Cool. Alright.
Actually, like, on the train, there was something weird where, like, the textures would show up in the scene, but then they didn't show up in the
Not
pictures.
render.
That was so disappointing.
Gotcha. It could be. This is one thing that like I notice sometimes. Just double check and make sure that you haven't like accidentally duplicated the object on itself. Because sometimes like if you have the same object with a different texture, sometimes it'll prioritize one in the render and like one in the viewport. It's really stupid and it's probably like not the issue, but if you can't get that to render, also let me know because I can take a look at that. But yeah, no, story of my life happens like literally all the time. All right, cool. Is this a giant cable here, or is this like a wall scribble?
This one friend told me to add a cord to the line.
Okay.
Can I get some feedback for videos and stuff?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, sorry, one more time.
There's supposed to be a cord.
Okay. You know, I was like, it feels like a cord. Or like a really, yeah, okay, cool, sorry. Your table is floating ever so slightly. But yeah. All right, cool. So anyone have any thoughts or comments on any of the stuff in here? Just gonna throw it out there. This is a nice looking floor texture. Bump map is like maybe a little extreme, like right in here, but if this is like hardcore old floor, I totally buy it. But I do like that you've gone through with like the bump map and stuff. It makes everything pretty. All right. Nice, nice. Did you end up doing anything differently with the... I remember you said you were having like some issues with the light.
Yes, I switched out the mesh light and put like 2 area lights.
Yeah, did that like work out better or
I mean,
kind of?
for the other ones, it still came out fuzzy.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like there's some like weird sampling, maybe from like diffuser, specular, one of them, but yeah, I still think like, I think overall like the textures and stuff in this look pretty nice, and like the, I think the layout of the stuff on the floor feels pretty good. One thing, if you're looking to like maybe make that feel a little bit more organic, it kind of looks like to me everything is like segmented. Like here is a pile of crayons, like here is a pile of blocks. You could maybe like spread some of those things out more, or like just grab, you know, a few crayons and like a few blocks and kind of like mix them in slightly with each other. But I do think that like most of the renders, like that's not an issue. It's just like this one where it's like kind of overhead. It's a little bit maybe more noticeable, but cool. But yeah, like I think for the most part, like squishy tips. Like this render I think looks really nice, and I think the difference between day and night is also like pretty apparent. The night lighting I feel like is good. Like it's not, there's nothing that's like so dark you just can't see it. You do a good job of like getting the specular highlights to sort of like show off different aspects of your scene. Also, yay for subtle wall textures. But yeah, anyone else have any thoughts and comments?
I think the lighting overall looks really nice.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would just say the lighting seems a little bit too intense. That's what I see, like,
This guy?
Yeah.
I can see.
But that might just be because looking at it on the screen.
Yeah. It 100% looks way different. Yeah, it's still bright, but it's like less insane feeling on my monitor. Yeah, that projector doesn't look great. Yeah.
The projector blurs it a bit.
Yeah, projector does weird stuff with the color. I'm also like literally can't see any of the crayons on the floor without my glasses. I'm like, yes. But yeah, I mean, I just I don't know. I think overall this looks pretty nice. I don't have a whole lot of comments on this in terms of stuff. Maybe the bookshelves could have some like, if you wanted to go back in. These books were not yours, right? Or like which? Okay, so all the books were not yours. Okay. Yeah, I do like. I think honestly one of the main things I would look at is like keep fiddling with the sampling and like see if you can figure out what's causing that night sampling. I can also take a look at that afterwards if you have your stuff with you, but yeah, because I mean I feel like everything is like pretty solid for the most part, and then it's just like the sampling kind of like stands out because it's like everything else is so nice looking. Yeah. And this was Arnold Redshift? Arnold, cool. All right. Any last comments? Is there a light bulb in this? Is this little black guy? Okay. It's a tiny light bulb. I've seen tiny light bulbs though. Like I kind of would buy that. Yeah, cool. Well, that was a easy project. All right. We did that. Okay. All right. Ha. Put it in my beautiful TIFF file. All right. Cool. Anything you? Wait. Whose project is this again? The cornhole. Cool. Anything you want to like mention before we go into crit?
Other than the fact that I didn't have teammates.
Yeah. Yeah. All three of your teammates ended up withdrawing from the course. Yeah. That's fair. And you were doing like the cornhole production garage? Was that okay? Cool. I feel like I've seen like so many iterations of the texture on this thing. It's like interesting to see like where it kind of goes and ends up. How did you end up settling on this texture for the top? I think at one point it was just wood or like a different. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I know I made a design earlier, and I knew the whole time I was going to change it.
Okay.
I just kept using it just because
Right.
I was just kind of waiting till the final, and I felt like I needed to change it.
Gotcha.
So I just went into Photoshop and like was messing around and made that, and I liked it. So I kept on.
Gotcha. You've done a good job of like wrapping the textures. There's like a little bit of blip, but like for the most part, like the seams are pretty even, like where the stripes are. So that's always nice, especially if you're gonna like render it from this particular angle. I feel like this is shinier than I'm used to seeing cornhole boards, but I also don't know. I feel like there's like a secret underground of like really hardcore cornhole people who like would make really fancy ones that are like varnished and lacquered. Is this a thing or?
Yeah, I mean, I actually got this whole idea from like my dad knows this guy that does this exact thing. So
Oh my god, okay.
yeah, so we bought a couple from them. They are pretty shiny like that.
Gotcha. Interesting. I like all the like exposed wood and stuff that you have around. I don't know why. It was just like it's a like especially like this. It's a really nice way to like fill space in a way that's believable for the environment that you've created. But yeah, I would love to have one of these things. Yeah, I mean honestly, like it seems like I almost feel like there should be like more tools and stuff. But I know like some of that was also like was supposed to be modeled by teammates who ended up all not existing. But yeah, and it seems like so this is. It looks like I would guess your night render is from like a single overhead light, and your day render is from like a window somewhere.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, gotcha. I feel like maybe the day lighting could potentially be slightly brighter. It seems like a lot of it is like sort of the same like shadow intensity and light intensity, just like a different color. But I mean, I do think like overall it does show off like what needs to be showed off in the space. I like these little boxes of things. It's also a clever way to just sort of like take up space. Nice touch with the extra little screws here. But yeah.
One thing for the lighting, when I was like messing with the day lighting, I had one render where it shows the windows, and I kind of like got this effect where it felt like it was like a rainy day and there were shades down. So
Like this one?
So I decided to keep it. Yeah.
Okay. I would buy that. Like honestly, like I retract my previous statements because that feels like it makes sense. And that does totally look like rainy day lighting. I would buy that. Cool. Anyone else have any thoughts or comments?
I think you did a pretty good job at like making it look pretty filled for just being one person.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
I would say it was the same thing. It's just some of the tools end up looking just like a little like flat and light interactiveness, or maybe you could tweak that so it's just like so the detail doesn't get lost.
Yeah. I will. Yeah. The drill. I think the yellow part is pretty good, but yeah, the black part does get a little bit like overly black. That might be something to look at. Also, it looks like was this chair textured or just like you still need to do that?
It was textured. Yeah, it was textured.
Okay. I might keep tweaking that. It looks a little bit like a Lambert almost, in just like color and texture. Was it like a wood chair or?
Yeah, it was. I noticed that. I did get
Yeah.
messed up.
Things happen. This is why
Also,
resubmits
one
exist.
thing, too, is I paid a lot of attention to like trying to make the tabletop look all like messed up, and then when I decided to go with like the dingy like one light kind of feeling, it was sort of lost in the light.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to try to like bring that out.
One thing you could do is make one of those like shop lights where they have like the semi-sphere of like shiny metal with a single bulb in it, and you could use that to like shine light across the table maybe, and that would like probably highlight it pretty well and also feel like it makes sense with the scene. Yeah, it's always like the worst when you're like, I have this like awesome texture I did, and then my lighting doesn't show it off. But yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I like how the room itself looks like someone made it specifically to be a workshop or
Oh, yeah.
backyard shed.
Absolutely.
It matches really well.
I've never seen I forget what this material is called, but I feel like I've not usually seen it as a floor, because I think doesn't this stuff like disintegrate when it gets wet? Or like for extended periods of time? Or am I just thinking of something else?
It works.
Yeah,
It's just
I don't know.
softwood.
Small thing. I don't know.
Oh, particle board.
Yes. I don't know, just like weird things. I don't know if that you want to do anything with that or not, but I'm just thinking out loud. Also, it looks like this is like barely floating like 3 millimeters off the ground. Oh, I see okay, the chair definitely has a texture on it now. Yeah, maybe if that was like a little bit, I might play that up a little bit, just like increase the saturation. I think that would help. But I definitely do see that there is a texture on this in this render, on the computer at least. But yeah, and I think the other thing, so most of I think what I'd play with at this point would just be maybe add some like little jars full of like screws or something like that. Like see if there's ways to maybe populate the wall, or like you have all the lumber and stuff set up and you have like this drill hanging out here with the little screws, but it feels like maybe there should be some other stuff around. I know at some point like there was talk of paint cans, but they were also like not your objects. If you happen to have time and like want to add those things, you can. But obviously, like I'm not going to grade you on all of your teammates withdrawing from the class and you not having their objects, because that's horribly obnoxious. But yeah, no, I mean I think like it definitely is a cohesive scene. It's cool to see this come together. I like the saw. I don't know why. There's a little bit of texture pulling on like the top of the saw, but I do kind of like the overall texture of the rest of it. But yeah, cool stuff. Last comments? All right then. Ha. Grr. All right. And their tiffs. Huzzah! Oh wait, do we just? Oh no. Okay, sorry. All right. So. All right. Oh, and these are doing that stupid thing where. Let me open these in Photoshop really quick. Meh. Beautiful. I'd love to know why sometimes Image Viewer stretches tiffs. All right. Anything we should know about this before we go into crit?
No, nothing like unusual, I guess.
Cool. How about anything usual? All right. Cool. Any thoughts or comments on this? You guys are welcome to just like yell out, by the way. Anyone?
One thing that was unusual actually was that for whatever reason, every time I tried to render out a scene, the table would just like become transparent. I don't
That's
know why.
what?
Yeah, like you can see like from the scene, you can see like part of the chair like under the table.
That's super weird.
Yeah, and like I didn't even render transmission like at all.
Yeah. What were you rendering with?
Arnold.
Okay. That's.
Yeah.
I know sometimes. Did you happen to be using PSD textures for things, or did you convert them to like PNGs or TIFFs or? like image files.
Can't use.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I rendered the same table because I was the one who made it in RO2.
Okay.
Completely fine there in my scene.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's
like,
the
when I
same
started,
with
it
the
was fine. When I, yeah,
Bizarre.
I deleted it and like re-imported it multiple times, and every time I rendered it, it just came up transparent. It was the only thing that came up transparent too.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I know sometimes if you like hook up a PSD texture for like your color or whatever, it'll automatically hook it up for transparency as well and do weird stuff like that. But I've never heard of it just like randomly making things transparent. I could look at your scene and see if there's a fix for that, but off the top of my head, I have
Yes, after class.
no idea. That's very weird. Cool. I do. Hmm? Oh,
I don't know. Just noticed that.
yeah.
Might have been because I moved the room and the UVs might have gotten messed up.
That is entirely possible. Yeah, there is like a bunch of like seam stuff on the floor. Honestly, yeah.
They're supposed to be straight.
That'd probably also be like a super easy fix, just like planar map your floor real quick and call it a day.
Yeah, no, I've done it for the walls too. Like
Yep.
moving the walls and just putting it into UVs.
Yep. I feel like the wall texture is a little bit low res, but I really do enjoy, like, the axe looks super nice in this render. Just like the way the light's hitting it, it looks like very, like, it like pops off the wall really nicely. Chair is like a little bit shiny in this render, which I know like sometimes like we had this whole like conversation in my last class where it's like same material, like depending on the lighting you put it in and like the scene, it looks completely different. So this might just be like a thing where you might just want to like manually twiddle with the shininess of this just for your particular scene to bump that down a bit. But yeah, I think overall it's like a nice little cohesive looking scene. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I like the changes you made to the axe, and I like that
What?
the axe is your object, right?
Yeah, it's like your object, yeah.
And I like that you added the chip in the axe.
Yes. Wait, I must find pictures of this axe. Yes. Oh, yes, that is a nice little chip. I didn't even notice that. I do like that. Indeed. I also like the difference between day and night lighting. I think this is another good example of like having. It looks like you were playing with like some subsurface scattering for the candles.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, you did a good job again with like the candle, just sort of like illuminating the stuff and like drawing attention to what you want to see in the scene. This is like, I like the angle. Why is this chair flipped up in the corner, or like this table thing?
It's a bench. Like,
Okay. I like it. I'm just
running out of room, so I just kind of like
put a bench there.
so you can see it.
I was just wondering if there was like some kind of backstory to that, or if it was just like, space.
It's a really short bench.
Fair. I feel like in this render it might be good to like twist the helmet around slightly, because it's making a pretty big like black blob on the scene,
Okay.
where it's like your eye wants something there, but it's like
Yeah, there's
not quite. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it seems like the like wood grain on here looks good. It seems like it might be running the wrong direction on the bits here. I like this like dark brick you've done. I still think it's a little low res in a few areas, but it's a cool texture with a cool effect. It looks nice with the wood you chose too. Yeah, I definitely like. I feel like actually the daylighting could maybe be a little bit brighter. But if you're also shooting for just like rendering solely through that one window, then I would kind of. It's like a pretty small window. I kind of believe it would be like a little dungeon room without a whole lot of light in it. I don't know. I really like the night lighting. I think it look neat. But yeah, and then I think it doesn't. You've set up the space, with the exception of like this render right here. I think you've set up the space in a way where there's no like one area that looks unrealistically empty, if that makes sense. Like you've done a good job, sort of like populating the space in a believable way, but like also like there's an empty wall here, but it doesn't feel empty because of the way you've set up the scene. So I was like, I don't think you really need to spend a lot of time like adding in extra objects just because of the way you've laid out the renders, and also the texture on your wall definitely helps. But yeah, I think overall this turned out pretty cool. Anyone else have any final thoughts or comments? Yeah.
like the transparent table.
Yeah. That's such a weird. I would love to know why this is happening. That's very strange. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Last call.
The wood framing, the edges of the walls and the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of stuff is like, A, looks cool, and B, is a great way to camouflage stuff if you don't want to deal with corners. Don't know if that was the case here, but yeah, no, I do also like that. It does help sort of, it creates enough visual interest. Like if this wasn't here, I think it would be like, this wall feels empty. Because this is here, it feels like that's like kind of a non-issue. Yeah. Cool. Anything else? Alrighty then. I should close all of these Photoshop files. All of them, no. Alright. I do hate Photoshop. Bless you. Alright, so I feel like we just did this one, but I could be wrong. Ah. A tiff. Alright. Holy crap. What? What? Wait. I need context on this? Why?
There's a murder scene.
Okay, you were going for murder scene. Because you have achieved that with the blood on the table here.
The child was adopted on Saturday, and now he's here.
Dead? Question mark?
Join.
Well, hot dang. Certainly an interesting take on a child's bedroom. I appreciate the twist. Dear God. Alright, so anything apart from murder that you want to bring up for this before we go into crit? Cool. Yes. Good. Dang. I feel like the blood is a little bit too red. It feels like very like campy stylized blood rather than like realistic blood. Like, okay, this is gonna.
I tried putting in like a maroon color,
Yeah.
but it kind of just mixed with the floor.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was gonna say, like, how recent was this murder?
he was adopted Saturday, so he was murdered sometime between Saturday night and last night. So
Okay. So, conceivably day-old blood. So yeah, that blood would probably be dried brown by now, or like much darker.
yeah.
I think it would be very helpful if they would like, instead of like, sit on top of the table, that way, or just like,
The gross part of me is like, you could also just put some like pieces of scalp on the table.
Oh my god.
I like. Alright, have you murdered yourself here? Is this beautiful? Question mark. Also, this is floating, but like apart from that, I like the touch, and this is floating. This is floating. I do very much appreciate the creativity of the scene and the fact that you've like thrown things in the room.
The sword, you can just barely see it down
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it in any scenes, but it's like thrown up against the door. Like it was knocked out of their hands.
Gotcha. Alright, let me check after night lightings. Alright, so cool. I feel like for this particular render, so in the daylight render, this is a little bit blown out. I do actually, now that I look at it here, I do really like that you've actually modeled in like the individual parts of that windowsill since you have it like so close in the scene.
There's glass in there too.
Yeah.
But I had to make it completely transparent for it not for it to actually let light through.
Oh yeah. But no, I mean it is a well-made windowsill. Like I said, I'm glad that you put that detail in since you're showing it so closely. So yeah, so in the daylight render, I do think this was like a little bit blown out. And then in this one, I think it feels like really, really bright considering how dark the inside of the space is. So that might be just something where you could go in like post-processing or whatever, you could go back in and just sort of like tweak that down. You could also, were you rendering this in Arnold?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have if you're looking for in the AI standard surface, they have the diffuse roughness attribute that you can play with. And if you slide that down, or slide that up, sorry, so it's like more rough, it'll a lot of times end up, it makes your object a little bit gray sometimes if it's white, but it'll also make it kind of allow you to control it so it doesn't look so blown out, if that makes sense. So conceivably play with diffuse roughness in your material for that. I also I feel like with this, I like the angle from like outside looking in at all the bloody window spatter and stuff. I feel like it would be cool if the angle was maybe changed a little bit so that you're seeing more of, like, I want to see the teddy bear's head in here and like the corner of this table.
I had originally tried to do it like on a lower angle, but it just ended up with that right in the front, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fair. This is also going to be like a really weird, stupid, nitpicky comment. I feel like a certain amount of blood spatter on the table makes sense. I feel like if the child like fell down and then was like bleeding out under the table, it would be a more like pool of blood, like a solid stain, rather than like so much fuzzy spatter on the edges.
Yeah.
But again, that is a small detail.
There's I had put blood on the wall too, like he was dragged out the window,
Jesus.
but it's not really shown.
What? You're a morbid person. I really want some render angles of this like bloody windowsill. Yeah, I feel like you have. It seems like you have this like whole story about like how this kid was like murdered and
I do actually.
dragged out a window. It would be interesting if in your renders you like really like highlighted like figure out like key instances in that struggle and then like get good renders of them. You know what I mean? Like, or you could just go hardcore and like just be like, I'm gonna just make this a crime scene. You could put little crime scene tags everywhere. What is the backstory behind this? I'm curious because you've apparently planned this out so much.
Alright, so this kid was adopted on Saturday,
Yeah.
and his parents haven't yet figured out like what he's into. So that's why there isn't a lot of stuff. So then whenever he was murdered, the murderer jumped through his window. The kid woke up, jumped out of his bed, grabbed his toy sword,
Okay.
and tried to fight back.
Gotcha.
And the dude slapped the sword right out of his hand, and the whole table thing happened.
Gotcha.
And then he started bleeding out on the floor. So the guy was like, "Oof, I gotta go," and took the kid out the window.
All right then. For some reason, I assumed the kid's parents murdered him. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I guess in that case, it definitely makes sense that like the window is like open and then the light and stuff is like knocked. Yeah. Cool. Nice. I feel like unless you're going like this is like feels really good for like a cloudy render day. If you're going for sunny, I would maybe make this a little bit brighter, but I think like overall,
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with lighting because
Yeah.
sometimes like I mess with it, and sometimes it would be so dark you couldn't see anything.
Yup.
And then I tweak it just a little bit, and it'd be like 100 exposure.
Yeah. No, I figure struggle. I think the night lighting holds up pretty nicely though. I think my only thought, so I think like actually all of this holds up pretty nicely. It might be nice to see, I assume this is like a carpet floor?
Yeah.
Okay. It might be nice to see a little bit more texture in that. I really like this render angle, by the way. It's just cool looking. But yeah, so like here, if there's a texture in the rug, it looks just more like kind of render grain than texture. So it might be nice to sort of figure out exactly what kind of rug you're looking at and like go, I guess like try to do something I guess a little bit more with that if possible. And then the other thing I was looking at is like, for some reason I'm like fixated with this blood splatter. If there's a way, it seems like there would be a different roughness on this, especially if it was, I mean, this looks pretty fresh, honestly, but like, you could even bump map the blood slightly. Like, if this is supposed to be like legit, like fresh pooled blood on this table, add a little bit of a bump map and make it look like it's like actually glossy and raised on the surface. If it's dried, honestly, you could probably just make it like crusty brown and like make it less rough. But yeah. Also, it looks like the lamp might be clipping ever so slightly through the table. But yeah. Certainly an interesting scene. And I think the render angles you've chosen do a good job of making the scene look populated for most of the areas. Like, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of stuff on the walls, but you also don't really show the walls that much. You just show like the floor, and also the fact that you've added the "it's a murder room" twist also gives people other things to like focus on in this scene. But yeah. Any other thoughts or comments?
I think it's really good, and I like the concept of it, the renders. My only thing is that on the render through the window, the color of the blood is the same on the car bed as it is on the floor. Which wouldn't make sense, so it just kind of looks like it was all painted over at the same time, and I don't know if so it would just be like a little bit darker.
I went through a lot of different processes to try to get blood on. I started in my box trying to paint it on the objects, but it would have just been a completely white room if I did that. So I ended up just taking each UV and trying to guess where the blood would be in proportion or in relation to the other splatters. So it was a lot of the blood was kind of just guess and check.
Yeah, like, I think where its place is fine, just like where the edge of the bed is kind of hidden from the floor, just in that spot. But other than that,
Yeah, I think also like that's a fair point. 'Cause yeah, if you pour like a liquid something onto a shiny surface where it's gonna like sit on top of that surface, it's gonna look a little bit different than if it like soaks into the rug, and sort of takes on the color and maybe like muted feel of that rug. But yeah. Anything else? All right, cool. I have 2 words as I close this. Bloody handprints. And with that, I actually have no more comments for that. I do like the spin that you took on that though.
I was thinking
Quite
about
fun.
doing bloody footprints.
Nice.
I never got around to it.
Wait, I feel like we just did this one. Yeah, I'm always a fan of like weird like murder scenes for some reason for stuff. I find them fun. That came out strangely. All right. As I randomly extract files. Aha. Oh, we did just do that one. Whoops. My bad. Semblance of order. All right. Sweet. Ooh, and they're tips. Yes, and they aren't stretchy tips. No, they are stretchy tips. Dang it. I would love to know why this is a thing. All right, cool. So anything we should know about this before we go into crit? All right, Z-Chen, are you here?
I think she left.
Dang it, okay. Never mind, I'm extremely glad that I just overtold. That is fair, she did come up to me and was like, I need to leave. All right, well, that certainly expedites the process. Huzzah. All right. All right. Cool. All right. So anything we should know about this before we do crit?
Just I was a bit rushed because everything crashed and I had to restart this again.
Gotcha. All right, so it looks like mostly, and this was also done in Unity, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so is there anything that you're like still working on that would be kind of like silly to crit at this point, or?
Just fixing the walls and floors a bit.
Gotcha.
Redoing some textures.
Cool. All right. So anybody have any initial thoughts and comments on this?
I could do the same exact thing with the axe and sword. You know, like,
Yeah. Another, I still like the night lighting in this, and I like. Is this your object?
No.
Okay. I think this is the only render that I've seen where you can actually see the meat texture on the side of this, which is nice. But yeah, and I like all the multiple shadows. It feels realistic, honestly, if you have a bunch of candles in there. I feel like you could almost go a little bit darker with your lighting.
It was a bit of a struggle with like distance and intensity with some of the lighting for candles.
Yeah.
Distance I think is like
I
you
see.
be like outside of the room to like get that effect.
Gotcha.
Otherwise it would be like way too intense really close.
Gotcha. That's fair. But yeah, so I think the stuff that I would probably look at first, is there a wall on this, like where behind the camera?
No.
Okay. I would maybe add a wall there.
I I envisioned it kind of like a
Oh, like an outdoor kind of.
kind of like a blacksmith like area outside.
Ah, okay.
Out too.
Gotcha. Never mind. Cool. And then is the floor like stone marble?
Yep.
Gotcha. I think probably the first thing that I would look into is twiddling with the texture of the wall, yeah. It creates a rather interesting effect where I literally can't see where the wall bends at all. But it seems like maybe something like larger like timber planks or something would make more sense for that.
Yeah, something more of a pattern to it.
Yeah. And also maybe running horizontally. Something about it doing vertical feels like really weird to me, but I don't know. This honestly feels like that like weird like 80s wall paneling that they would, or like wood paneling that they would put on walls. But yeah. I feel like there could also it feels like the table could maybe use a few more objects on it. And honestly, that could just be duplicating, like, adding a few more cups or something like that. Maybe having some spilled over. I'm always a fan of, like, if you have a cup, put one spilled over with, like, some, like, goo oozing out of it. Or, like, I don't know, meat or something like that. But yeah. And then it looks like... And again, I think this is, like... Some of the walls end up looking a little bit empty. And I think part of that is honestly the texture on the walls currently. But I think also, like, you could get around sort of adding more stuff into that if you went in and, like, chose some closer up render angles of things. Like, if you did, like, a close-up on the table, the walls wouldn't be as obvious kind of thing. Or, like, if you maybe took this stuff and shifted it down slightly, you could take lower render angles, still get that stuff in, but it would be closer to the table and chairs, and you just, like, wouldn't see so much empty wall. So I think there are ways to, like, either duplicate like cups and stuff that you already have, or like do a few like quick changes to sort of add in extra detail to that. Yeah. Any other thoughts and comments from people?
I see the sword again.
From individual renders or room renders?
Individual.
Yes.
I like are those scratches or is that the design?
Yeah, there are like scratches on the cracks on it.
They look nice. I wasn't sure.
I feel like I think in certain areas they do a little bit, like particularly down here, kind of the same thing with the table, where they're like a little bit like spotty looking.
Yeah.
But I do think, and it also looks like, maybe honestly this could be specular highlights, but like They get like a little bit low, or like not low res, but they have that like halo around the outside of them of like white, which again could be specular highlights. Might be worth double checking though, but I think in this case it might be specular. It also looks like what am I trying to say? For every scratch on like the left side for the lower half of the sword, there's like, if not a matching one, but like one in more or less the same position on the right side. Which honestly, that would be like a pretty easy, probably just like grab your UVs and like shift them around slightly, and then they would just be in different spots. But yeah, I do like that you've actually gone through and like added scratches and stuff though. The texture on the handle also looks pretty cool. This feels familiar. Is this from something, or did you just make this?
I just made it.
Okay.
I want to just
Okay, yeah. It reminds me of, I think it reminds me of like the little snake thing for like the razor mice. I don't know. Anyway, it's totally not. It's just similar design. But yeah. Cool. And then, I mean, obviously for like the furniture and stuff, if you do a resubmit, like put something in the background here. But yeah.
I didn't have enough time to like put
Yeah.
HDR in the background, so it just like fucked up this box.
Gotcha. I also like how there's just like a random sword floating here. Just line your stuff up next to each other and like grab renders. Okay. I might.
I pulled it out from. I made copies and just pulled them out off to the distance. So
Gotcha.
shots of it.
Gotcha. I would avoid floating swords in future renders if possible. But yeah. Cool. So yeah, I think the main things that I would look at are just like I kind of keep refining the texturing like you mentioned doing, and then maybe choosing some other other like more slightly varied render angles that help show off specific objects some more. Cool. Any other thoughts or comments? All right. Easy crowd today. Do. Huzzah. Alright, we have renders, which, oh my god, they're all TIFFs. They're gonna be stretchy TIFFs, aren't they? Yay. Okay, sweet. Alright. Cool. And anything we should know before we look at your scene? It's all good. Cool. I don't feel like it would have been cool. I don't feel like your scene, at least in this render, like is detracted from not having that. Yeah, sometimes the settings for that can just be like super finicky and very annoying. Cool. All right. So any thoughts and comments on this? Nice.
I like that you can see how the swords are hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
It's a very small place. It's nice.
Yeah, I agree.
I like how packed every picture so far seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, squishy tiffs. This is like a nice render angle, I think. You get like a lot of nice signs on the wall, like hints of display cases, chairs. Like it does feel satisfyingly full.
What's glowing in like the bottom right?
This guy?
Yeah.
It looks like just sort of a glass thing that maybe ended up a little reflective. Was it supposed to be glowing in this, or?
The intention was not for it to glow, but I did put a light in there because you know I try to keep up the global illumination and still didn't make it like as bright as I just.
Gotcha. A lot of times they're also just lit anyway, so it's probably just like glass picking up some of the straight lighting that you added in, kind of thing. Yeah, it happens. It might be worth if it might be worth like playing with the settings just for the night renders to see if you can take that down a little bit, because it's one of those weird things, like once you see it, you like can't unsee it. But yeah, I mean, I do very much like, I think, the lighting, and again, this render angle looks quite nice. No smoking in this joint. What does this say? Wait, I should just go to the day renders. What's this guy's name? Bodo? Weird. I like that you made like a custom little sign for him. That's cute. Oh yeah, like down here? Yeah, that is very nice. Mm-hmm.
On a wall, there are walls that there are like stories on the top here on the table, and there's some like top places
These guys?
there. Yeah,
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I feel like, honestly, I think there's two things that you could do with the display cases. So, like this one, you also have some glowing stuff. So, you could either just be like, screw it, the guy keeps his display cases lit all the time, and just play it up that way where it's like, they are literally just lit, and you could light the other one more intensely, or you could like, turn those lights maybe down a little bit, just like a little bit, for the night renders. Because I do think, again, it looks like, whatever these like little glass puck looking things are, they do get a little bit kind of glowy. But again, I buy it if the display cases are lit, which you said that they are. So I think it would just be kind of pick one and like really, really go for lit or unlit for that, if that makes sense, for night lighting. And then it's also, for the night lighting in particular, like I would buy that things sort of like fade off into the darkness, like the farther you get away from the shop. It might be interesting just to throw in like a quick little texture of like a sidewalk and some kind of like parking lot or something in there. I think it would help tie it in, because right now it just sort of just looks very gray outside, like gray fading to black, in a way that takes you out of the scene a little bit, because you have like a lot of nice details and stuff in the space, but then outside is just sort of like a void. Which again, at least for night lighting, I think you could compensate with just like a texture of a like sidewalk or something, and that would pretty much fix that, since you have frosted glass in the windows and you can't see like super clearly out there. This is great. I like how you can see, the little beaver guy has like good shadows or good highlights on him, but also the fact that you can see this light up here is cool. Yeah, this thing came out pretty cute, I think. Oh, and you have this guy down here. Cool. Any other thoughts, comments from other peoples? Nice, nice. Cool. Beaver guy. I still like that you've actually gone through and like added this little hanger thing on the back. Kind of stuff always makes me happy. But yeah, I mean, I feel like for the most part, like the day and night lighting is like pretty well differentiated. And can you see? Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, like there's you can see like out here with the cars and stuff. I think if there's something similar in the night lighting, that would be nice. And then this one also looks like it's kind of cut off by something here, which maybe looks like, because I think contextually, like this makes sense as an image. I don't know what's below it, but like I would buy this. This is like a realistic background for that scene. Cool. Anyone else? All right. Yeah, so I think most of what I would focus on for this would honestly just be twiddle a little bit with like what's happening on the outside, like behind these windows, since they show up so prominently in the renders. Mess around with sampling a little bit, because especially some of the night renders do get a little bit sampley. And then pick a thing for the display case and like really go for it. So I do kind of like the lit version down here. It is pretty cool looking. It would also be an interesting way to sort of like differentiate your night lighting from your day lighting, where you have There's like very clearly lit illuminated display cases in the night lighting that show up more. But again, completely up to you. But yeah, cool. Last call for comments. All right. Where am I going? Wait, what did I just go into the textures folder? Which was no. All right. Latif. Cool. All right. My God. All right. So anything we should know before we go into crit?
It's low poly rendered in R.
Cool. I like this like trippy sort of lighting you have going on here. Like the colors look nice, and this little highlight on the table is nice. All right. Any thoughts and comments from people?
I like the way that in order to make the walls feel more, bold, like he has like the, I forget what they're called, wall stickers.
Yeah.
He has the one there. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Certainly a good way to add texture to a wall. Also kind of terrifying. And I see it looks like you went through and kind of like jumbled these up a little bit. This is like a weirdly, this feels like something you would see in like a top-down video game, but like in a good way. All right, so wait, are these just like a bunch of turntable renders? What is this? Ah, okay. I mean, difference between day and night lighting is like definitely apparent. Interesting like highlights on stuff here. I feel like parts of this maybe get like a little bit dark. Like you definitely, the highlights here like definitely play really well. And then there's, it could just be the contrast on the computer, I'm not sure. But I like certain in here, it's like not quite enough highlights on things to really distinguish clearly what it is. So it just sort of looks like a bunch of different shaped shadows intersecting with each other. So I think maybe if there was a way to, again, like bring in more of like this stuff like right here. Right here is also really nice. Even, I think this is like the sword. So like right here, if there's a way to like get a shadow coming down like the sword and over one of the little pieces of the hilt, I think that would definitely help sort of distinguish what that is and like make this render a little bit like poppier and more like cohesive and clear, if that makes sense. I like that the doors open down here. I don't know why, I just think that's like strangely nice touch. Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts? I do have my little baggie of names. The table here looks like super shiny. It has like nice textures on it. It just looks, in a few of the renders, it looks like crazy shiny.
What's the back right corner just dark?
Where?
The back right corner.
Oh, here?
Yeah. Was there something blocking the light there?
That's actually a good question.
I was trying to get the light to view as like coming through the window.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was I couldn't really put it outside the window, or else that light didn't get in at all.
Oh.
The solution was to just put it right over there, but then you get a bit of a shadow there.
Gotcha. So do you have a pane of glass in the window, it looks like?
Yeah, I have glass on transfer.
Gotcha. Did you go into the Arnold settings and turn off opacity for the object?
No, that could be it.
It probably is. That would be my guess. So that's actually a really good point. Yeah, I would maybe, if you do a resubmit for this, I would check for that and just, again, if you go into the shape node for the object, under the Arnold tab in the attribute editor, there should be a little thing for opacity, just check it off. That's like, someone else in my other class was like struggling with getting light to show through a bulb that they made, and it was the same issue, so yeah. Good point. I don't know why, something that's like really, really satisfying about like this little yellow light down here and like this sort of peachy light coming in. I just think it's like a nice color combination for some reason. But yeah, I mean, and I think you do a good job. Like, I really like the blocks scattered around over here. It seems like, again, you do a good job either like filling wall space with these like giant wall stickers, and choosing render angles that feel sort of busy enough, I guess. It might be interesting to maybe throw something under here, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a neater kid than I am. I have crap everywhere. But yeah. Yeah, so I think most of the stuff I would look at for this would be fixing that light, if possible, and like getting it to show through that window. And then tweaking maybe like the table texture. And then if there was a way, like here is like really, really shiny. This also maybe looks like it's floating like ever so slightly on one of the sides, maybe. If there's a way, if you could do like an ambient occlusion bake for this, I think that would be really nice. Because I'm looking at this bed and it feels like kind of abrupt between, like the difference between the carpet and the bed itself. Whereas again, if you had like an ambient occlusion in there, you get like that nice, like really subtle little shadow in there, which would help kind of like pop that out a little bit. Other weird nitpicky thing, if you're gonna see through the hallway, grab this molding and just like put it on the wall in there. And then the door here, it looks like the wall is starting exactly where the door is, whereas this room has more space here, so maybe just double check that. Usually doors do have like an inch or two between like the door and the wall next to it. Again, weird tiny details. If I get that nitpicky with stuff, you know it's like the rest of it's pretty good looking. But yeah, I mean, I think like overall this looks good. I do like your choice of wall dudes, like where they're like realistic but stylized. I think if you put like hyper realistic photos of like Superman and stuff in here, it would end up looking a little jarring since it's like a rendered image, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think overall this is pretty successful. Again, nice touch with like the tack pins in the little poster. Yeah. Last call for comments? All right. I might start pulling names if people don't say the things. Oh. Those. All right. Sweet. All right, so anything we should know before we go into crit? Wait. Whose render is this? Oh, cool.
Oh, no.
Cool. Did you make the meat thing?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, cool. It looks like you've done a retexture on the beads. And are you also doing this in Unity?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Any thoughts and comments? Guys? You guys are welcome to just call out if you have stuff.
The wall to the left looks kind of weird.
Here?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's like the texturing of it or if it's like not really on that, but it looks kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't really make the texture, I guess, to be this close, and I get finished it when I was rendering, so I should probably pick a different angle.
Story of my life. For the wall, did you actually just grab like a generic wood texture and just sort of like put in like little dents over it?
No, I made the wood grain and the seams and everything myself.
Dang. How did you make the wood grain yourself?
Essentially, when I looked up tutorials online, it was just noise, then do a motion blur, and then use liquify to kind of like pop out some of the knots in the wood.
Weird.
You could have put like a plane with a really simple texture on it, under where the doorway is open.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this almost like verges on toon shading. in the way this is shaded, but like in an interesting way. I'm talking specifically, like this render in particular, like looks very, very stylized, which I like. Honestly, I kind of like it. But yeah, so are these? I feel like what I would focus on would be the difference between like the day and night lighting.
Yeah, the lighting's been an issue for me.
Okay.
Because I've got like the one window in there
Mhm.
to really get like an outside effect from light.
Right.
So trying to get that felt throughout the scene. You've got candles. I can't really change their intensity because it's just fire.
Right.
So trying to figure out how to do that becomes an issue.
That's true. I mean, you can also kind of fudge it, like, I don't know, you gotta fudge a lot of stuff in CG, but, so I'm thinking, like, for the candles in daylight, maybe make them a little bit less intense, and then if you can get, if you're doing Unity and you're trying to, like, do a indoor lighting on a space, a lot of times you'll just have to put a crap ton of a lot of lights in. Where like you have one light coming in from, let me see if I can find a render with the window in it. So you have like one light coming in from the window, and then if you had global illumination in Unity, you could turn stuff on and get like bounce light from, you know, this wall coming back out. In Unity, you don't really have that, so you might just need to put like a giant area light on this and make it like really, really, really dim. And just put like a crap ton of a lot of area lights just everywhere, but like super dim. And that's how you can get like additional lighting in the scene for daylight lighting. And then for the night stuff, like if you want, like honestly, if you need to kind of fudge it and like make the candles a little bit more intense, you can totally do that. Like no one's gonna know. Unless you show people like the numbers for your lighting intensity, it's a pretty safe thing to do, honestly. But yeah. And then, I mean, the shadows are kind of hard, but like that's one of those weird Unity things where like if you render in Unity, I'm not going to take off points for that because I don't know how the heck to fix that. It's harder in Unity and game engines. But yeah. This is there like a light sitting in this chair?
Yeah, it's really strong.
Yeah.
A lot more smaller lights would help not have that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, this is like one is like really, really blown out. But yeah, I mean, I think your renders do a pretty nice job of making things look populated. I think the wall that feels maybe like the emptiest to me would be this one and this one, in this particular render. Which honestly, for this wall, you might, if you have like a permanent like little baking thing here, you could probably like lean some pokers up against the wall or like put in. You can even put in some like char marks from like smoking meat, which actually seems like a horrible idea to do this inside, with no ventilation outdoors.
That's why I put it by the window. I was like, this makes no sense, but there's a window, so maybe.
Fantastic. I retract my previous statement. Everything should be covered in smoke. I mean, actually, that would be a valid thing to do in this case. Kind of like make fun of the fact that this is just inside with no ventilation at all. Or go the opposite way and just be ridiculous and put a bunch of giant fans here. Please don't do that. It's a horrible suggestion. But yeah, so I mean, one thing you could also maybe consider doing is, I was gonna say, like, you could even just duplicate the shield and like shift it over.
Yeah.
Or maybe like do, you know, hang some axes on the wall or something like that. Maybe you need an axe to cut whatever meat this is. I see there's also now a way to remove the stick thing and get your meat on. Yay. But yeah, I mean, I feel like with the exception of like the few areas in the walls, it does feel like pretty reasonably populated. This particular render maybe shows off some of the areas, like the floor starts feeling a little bit empty.
Yeah, I'm still working on the texture because I started with something.
Gotcha. It could also just, I don't know if they had rugs back then, but conceivably you could do a rug or like a bear skin.
No.
Or just maybe, yeah, I don't know. That'd actually probably be interesting. Sheepskin. But yeah, I mean, I think like mostly just again like kind of twiddle with the lighting like we talked about would be my suggestions, and then like maybe try to populate like a few of these areas. I see you have the sword here. It's just like it's not like super obvious.
Yeah.
Because of the angle that it's at, but yeah, I like the meat thing. I don't know why. It's a good object. Anyone else have any thoughts? All right. All right, if I'm the only one talking for the next one, I'm pulling random names out of my sketchy little plastic bags. We have TIFFs. All right. Cool. Anything we should know about this? Why is it stretching all the TIFFs? Why is it stretching some and not others? Okay, sorry. Anything we should know about this before we do crit?
Not really.
Cool. Say again? Oh,
Instead nothing.
cool. This is a very cute render. Say again?
I just looked at bear.
Yeah. I still say, whatever you did for the fur texture, it like reads as fur without being like overly bumped mapped, which you found that happy balance.
Noise text.
Yup. You gotta love them. But yeah, I mean, I think that came out nicely. I also really I enjoy the contrast of this like super shiny eyeball with the rest of the bear. I think that's a nice touch.
Is the red ribbon supposed to be like plastic? Yeah, I kind of didn't like it as much because it was like super matte and I watched it. Okay, it looks nice. I was just it's just like a contrast between like the fleshiness and like that shiny and the shiny red ribbon.
Yeah. One thing you can consider maybe doing is if you're going for like a sort of like a satin ribbon, maybe try taking the roughness down a little bit, and then ever so very tiny slightly giving it like a very subtle pink tint to the specular highlight. And that would, so taking the roughness down, making it a little bit rougher, would take these really, what are right now like really hard aggressive highlights and like spread them out a little bit, make them a little bit more diffuse and softer. And then I don't know, a lot of times satin ribbon usually will just, it always seems to have like a very slightly tinted shine to it. So that might be something to consider if you're going for like kind of shiny fabric-y, kind of silky effect for it. But again, up to you. Yeah. Anyone else?
I like the lighting in this scene.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I don't know how it looks on the monitor.
It looks nice on the monitor. Yeah.
There's a little thing that like you can kind of fix the molding at the bottom. Cause like pictures in the back, but it's also a little over pictures in the back. It doesn't really match up. It's not logo.
Wait, where? Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's
I fixed that before, and while I was rendering, I rendered overnight and I came back, and the computer wiped itself, including like 3 of my renders.
No.
So I had to use and find an older version of it.
That
and I forgot to
sucks.
move it back when I fixed some of them.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Oh, I've 100% done that before.
yeah.
Thing to twiddle with in a recent bit. But no, that is like the actual worst when you're like, I'll totally gonna remember to fix this, and then you don't, and you're like, damn it. One thing I've actually taken to doing is like, I'll finish my file and then save a copy of it that's like for render, which is like the same, and I like won't make any changes to that file. It's so that way if my render file craps out, I have like an exact duplicate of it
Yeah.
that I can like reset. I don't know. It's just become my workflow if I actually remember to do that. And then did you go in and like add the glow in afterwards in like Photoshop or something to this? Like,
So I was fighting with it in Maya with mesh lights.
oh God.
For some reason, like the different sizes had different brightness, even if like they were the same.
Well, that's horrifying.
So that glow was just there because it also wouldn't allow me, because like I know it has the option to show like what's
Yeah.
underneath it,
Mm.
and that wouldn't show up properly for some reason.
Weird.
So they're technically like mesh lights.
Interesting. I probably would have said maybe just fiddle a little bit. I think they're dim enough where mesh lights might have actually been overkill. You probably could have just used emission.
Okay.
You also could consider, if you were happy with their placement, just doing a mesh combine on all the stars. Maybe that would help with the scaling issues.
Maybe.
but that does sound very strange.
Yeah.
It's also weird that like this, I would normally expect like the largest ones to be the brightest, but in this case it looks like the smallest one is brighter.
I didn't get, also when I tried to like move them, sometimes they would disappear, even if they were like not hidden.
Nice.
Usually with the mesh light it shows like the little red outline.
Yeah.
It would be nowhere, so I couldn't move it after a certain point either.
Did
Even
it
though they'd show up.
render?
It was giving me
Yeah.
issues, but
I did have someone in one of my other classes who was having a similar issue where, would yours render if you did that? Like would the stars show up in a render?
yeah.
Yeah, they were having the same issue. I have no idea what that is. You can always select the thing in the outliner and then just sort of, if the pivot is centered, you kind of know where it is. It's not ideal, but
Yeah.
sometimes Maya's just stupid, honestly. But I do like I think the color that you've gotten off these stars is quite nice, honestly. Like that totally reads as like weird glowing plastic star to me. I'm mostly just because like some of the multiple blurs are like a little strange. I think that might be one of those things where I would maybe fiddle with it for a resubmit, because I do think it's like a really nice touch. It'd be really cool if that was working. If you still have any issues with it, let me know,
Okay.
because that seems like something that should be troubleshootable. But yeah, there's like real tea or fake tea in the cup.
It's fake.
Nice.
Those little
Yep, like plastic inserts. Yes. I have so much plastic food from when I was younger. It's ridiculous. But yeah, cool. Oh yeah, and night lighting, nice. Yeah, I think I would personally buy like both lightings for these. I think the other thing I might look at would be like the door texture. It's a little weird. It feels like, so the grain is both running in a direction I wouldn't quite expect. It's not necessary. Like normally they'll sort of make this in like pieces, so you'll have like different varieties. There's also a little bit of texture stretching here. But I think that's like out of all of the textures, to me, that's like the one that kind of stands out as like a little bit odd. But that honestly probably would be a fairly easy fix. Nice glowy stars. Say again?
So I should probably also just make a door plain white.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's also a good point. I feel this is one of the rare instances where like I think the projector actually helps this image. On my monitor, this area is like so black that I literally can't see like any detail here. And then on the projector it like does something to it where I can see this. So that might be worth playing with the I don't know how it looks on other computers. Looking at this just on my monitor, I would say that this area is like maybe a little bit dark in here. I do like though how you have like this very sort of clear like area where the light is sort of coming through from that door.
Is the light giving off the light too?
Yeah, it's pretty low. It's not super bright.
From these guys?
Or
The
from
lamp.
From the
See that reflection?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So close to the door. Like,
Right. That makes sense. Can you just put a bunch of Legos like right here in the shadows? Absolutely. Or Jack's. Oh nice. And are these, did you have these last time or are these new?
no, I had a last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, to me at least, I think this scene reads pretty well. This could just be a stupid function of all my tiffs are getting squished, but watch the seams there in the corners. Which actually, it looks like that might be from a wall bevel cutting into the molding a little bit, now that I look at it.
I'm not sure.
Either way. Honestly, you could probably just Photoshop that out if you cared enough, but yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, this is like pretty solid looking scene. It seems populated enough, like I would buy that this is like a child's room. I like that you've gone through and like rotated the teacups. This looks like a tiny little heart. Like for a minute, I thought this was like one of those like cappuccino things where they like put a fancy design on the top. It's kind of funny. So I think actually from this render, I would say it's pretty obvious that like at least this shelf is like a duplicate. I might sort of shove some of these renders around, or even like grab some of the books and just like scale them negative, and then just like put them on the other side of the shelf. I think that'd be a small thing that would help. But yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I like the camera placement that she used because there's certain areas that might be like a little bit like less filled than others. For example, like that area behind the door, because like the door is open, there's some visual interest, and then for the most part, like for this render, the table with all the crayons and bear and stuff on it, it's kind of covering up that corner.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if there's anything there, but I think the placement was pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the changes that you made to the table. It looks like you've just straight up like sanded the crap out of certain areas of it. But yeah.
I feel like the doorway shot, the little angle works especially well for the night lighting.
Wait, where am I going? Sorry. Ha. Like this one? Yeah.
Especially like when you like walking through the door.
Yeah. No, I agree. This one's. I do really like the lighting in this one. It is nice. Cool. Anything else? Sweet. I'm very much a fan of those glowing stars. You got that color like spot on. All right. Hiya. Add 2 more. Oh my god, we have a diner. Alright. Cool. I do just off the bat like these random pages of random text here. Alright, so anything that we should know about the scene before we do crit? Cool. Alright. Anyone have any thoughts or comments? Yeah, I do think it does come across nicely. It has a very like cohesive theme in terms of all the like colors and like stuff around. This is
How, like, I especially like how reflective the staircases are.
yeah. That is nice.
I really like the texture of the lamp. It has like a big pawn shop feel.
Yep. Buy, sell, pawn. My god. This is like the sketchiest sign ever. If I walked into a pawn shop and saw this, I would be like, ew. But I kind of like it, honestly. Yup. Yup. I do like that you put bars on all the windows. I would say, so if you're looking at the bars, it might be worth going through, and this is like a really tiny thing, it might be worth going through and sort of rotating some of these, because it looks like there's a pretty obvious repeating texture that's maybe happening in all these, where they have like the same little bumps visible, but again, that's like pretty small. And then I think the other thing that stands out to me is like maybe a little odd is the lampshade like has no opening at the top. I don't know. I've personally never seen a lampshade like this. It also seems like a fire hazard. But I don't know. Lampshades seem like a fire hazard actually now that I think about it. But to me that seems odd. But again, if you have reference to back that up, then like meh. I'm curious, how did you make all the little chains in here? Like, was this just a bunch of curbs and, like, mesh, or?
I individually, made, an entire chain,
Wow.
and then to make it, different, I just, rotated it,
Okay.
add some variations to it.
Gotcha. Well, I think it comes across nicely. Like, I certainly, maybe now that I look at it really closely, like with the exception of maybe these 3 right here, like I 100% didn't notice that that's just like a random duplicated chain. I like how these sort of sit in here. They're shiny, they're cool looking. I would honestly kind of like believe that as like a sketchy pawn shop display of like, we're just gonna throw a bunch of gold chains in a box and call it a day. Yeah. I also like this like sketchy little fan here. Was that one of your objects or no?
Yeah.
Nice. Texture on this thing I think looks a little bit more believable. I think I like the front here. The back maybe feels like it's like a brick wall or something. But I think overall, like this does look improved. And it looks like you went through and kind of like played with some of the textures in here, or am I imagining things?
Yeah.
Nice.
I tried to reduce the texture because it was like really texture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it has a little bit like more subtle, sort of refined look to it now. Cool. Anyone else have any thoughts, comments?
Can you go back?
Where?
It was zoomed up on the chair. You made a note of the
Zoomed up on the chair?
Yeah, it was on the chair and the lamp. You made a comment about the lamp.
Oh, like the top of the lamp?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so it's that same render. I will find it. So help me.
Okay.
Ahaha, great.
Go back one.
Eh?
So, my name is spelled wrong, so this has to get an F.
All right then.
No,
Well, strictly speaking, y'all spell my name wrong in like half the emails. Like, not that I actually care.
But in all seriousness, I really like the glass.
Yeah.
All the glass came out really nice.
I agree. You do get, really nice reflections. I think also like the crazy, horrid checkered pattern on the floor totally helps sell that. Like if that were just like a generic floor texture, I don't think it would show up as well in the reflection. But yeah, I think like the glass definitely does look nice. Anything else? I like the messy like hell stash of cables on the ground, by the way. Like this is just horrifying. There's like just TVs like thrown on the floor. But it works. Like something about this feels like sketchy jail office or something. But yeah. Cool. Anything else?
I like how she duplicates the items in really smart ways. And you mentioned the
Yeah.
chain
Yeah.
part, but also with the fan, if you look at the room as a whole, you notice those two fans are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But she's one fan on the table right then and one on the ground.
Right.
Because of the way she chose it.
Right.
Quite
Yeah, it totally doesn't read as like duplicated object. Yeah.
Actually, one thing I just noticed as well, can you go back to the other one?
Which one?
That one, yeah. I didn't know she took the top part of the light and she put it over there on the shelf, which I think.
Oh, snap. Yeah, that is super clever. And look, there's another fan here. I didn't even notice. That's funny. Also, what the actual heck? Why?
If you go on top, it's Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans with a bonnet and a sunroof. And then there's the
This is an amazing collection of weird pictures. I love this. That's quite funny. I'm very much a fan. I also like the beads you put on the lamps, just like in case I haven't mentioned that before. But yeah, that is really like good duplication of objects now that I look at that. Cool. I think also the fact that you've like broken the crap out of this TV and like straight up made it lopsided also kind of like, they're literally duplicates right next to each other, but it helps sell the fact that they're kind of like different. Cool. Anything else? I like this like frosted glass effect. Does that take forever to render, by the way?
I haven't bumped up the sampling that a lot.
Yeah.
It's not even on
Okay, that's not terrible, honestly. Yeah, frosted glass always takes way longer to render, in my opinion.
Is it Russia?
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. And it seems like also the way these like the ends caps of these glass came out is like super nice. I always have trouble getting that to read, but like these definitely came out here. Yeah. Cool. And I think I do like the difference. I really enjoy this render. It just looks messy and gross. It looks like the cables might be floating, like they're all kind of floating. But I think the fact that you've gone through and like added these little speckles on the floor, and then, you know, gone through to like actually make gross trash cans and like crumpled paper, like looks nice. It's like such a dumb render of like a floor, but like the stuff that you've added into it and like the cables makes it, I think, a nice render that's like worthy of like looking at. I do find it funny that you've just typed like key mashed keyboard. See, if it were me, this is probably where I'd start like writing like sketchy stuff like school sucks, I hate school, and just like that would be all of these papers. But yeah, cool. Any last comments? All right. I like how this paper is under the table. That is also quite nice. Yeah, good stuff. All right, and last final for the day. Well, actually, I guess last final for the quarter. Haha. Room day and room night. And they're TIFFs! Haha. Wait. Oh, okay, cool. These are the sketchy TIFFs that don't apparently open in this viewer. Give me 5 seconds to close all of these. Ha. Great, great, great. Oh, God.
Do you know what happens with TIFFs? Because I was freaking out.
I
thinking about
don't know. Nah, I don't know. It's just like a very, like, stupid... I don't know. Honestly, like, I don't know why these computers don't just, like, open images like real people anyway. But that is a separate issue. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Great. No. Okay. Great. All right, let's look at the day lighting, and then we'll go look at the night lighting. All right, so anything we should know about this before? Great. Cool. Pawn shop again?
Yes.
Sweet. For a minute, I thought this was like Newton balls on a dinosaur, and I got very excited. Cool. All right, so anybody have any thoughts and comments about this? Anyway. All right. I'm just gonna, yep.
Is this night or day lighter?
This is daylighting.
Yeah, it's the other day one. Night lighting came out dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit dark. Not like, that was a little dark.
The night
Okay.
I made the questionable decision of tinting the windows, thinking like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a cool modern storefront. Just made the lighting dark.
Yeah.
What are the little red things like for?
Right. Oh, those were like kind of like planters
Hmm.
and spittoons combined.
Ew.
I don't even know what to call them.
What?
Well, I was watching Markiplier play West of Loathing.
Okay.
He was obsessed with spittoons. So
Weird.
that's what it is.
All right. Well, that's quite funny. It occurs to me you can use pretty much any flower pot as a spittoon as long as it doesn't have a hole in it. It'd be disgusting. But yeah. Yeah, so I think I agree with you where like your day lighting is a little bit dark. Your night lighting also pushes a little dark, but it like makes more sense because it's night lighting. I think I might try like untinting the windows and seeing what that does. And I think like, I mean this one, so like honestly like this I would say would be a pretty successful like night lighting, but with lights turned off enough to like see what's happening inside. But it's daylighting. You could totally cheat and just take your existing daylighting and turn them into your night lighting. If you so desired. But yeah, so I mean I think most of my comments would be it looks like the glass like your window glass like you mentioned was like tinted, like kind of messing up your lighting. And then it seems like this could be a little bit clearer. Is this also tinted or just like not fully transparent?
That one is not fully transparent.
Okay. Is there a reason for that or?
No, it's just how that was.
Fair. I think I would maybe consider going through and make that fully transparent just because you can't really see what's in the display case. But yeah, and then I think just like fiddle with the lighting. It seems like maybe there could be some more stuff just sort of like around. Like you have a bunch of like pictures and stuff on the wall in like some of these renders. But then in, where was it? Meh. In like this one, like this whole wall is like completely empty. So that might be another thing where you could just kind of, again, just like grab your existing picture frames, like shift them around. You can also consider if you're ever looking for like really easy stuff that's not like a poster, like old road signs and stuff like that. People are like obsessed with paying a lot of money for them for some reason. Don't ask me why, but it's the thing. But yeah, I mean, I like that you've gone through and like made a little like display thing for this locket. Yeah, I think most of my comments would maybe be just like twiddle with the lighting and then see if you can get some more stuff added into the room. Because like, I think this render feels really nice. Paper's a little blown out. Is this the same paper you used for the render of your pen background?
Yes.
Is that your pen from that background?
Yeah.
Nice. The fact that I remember that is weird. But yeah, like I think this render is like really successful in creating like a sort of like full messy look. And it has like a nice sort of like you start kind of here and like your eye is like led around the scene. It would be nice to see that if possible in some of these other renders. Just put a fake plant in one of these. But yeah, I mean I think that's like honestly most of my comments from that. Anyone else have any thoughts? Do I need to call a random person from a name?
The like glass table thing, is that floating a little bit or is it like placement?
It's like a recessed ledge almost.
Mm,
So it's like flat and then it goes in, not like
Gotcha.
tooth or anything.
I feel like I honestly didn't even look at that. I feel like that would be easier to see if it was if the lighting was a little bit brighter. You didn't use global illumination, did you? Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you bump that up a little bit, it honestly might help lighten the whole room. It would help with some of the certain areas on the ceiling, like up here, get a little dark, which, like, honestly, I don't super mind that. If you turn on global illumination, it would probably, like, bounce light up in there and make it look a little bit more natural. And also, again, just, like, potentially lighten your whole scene, so you could still, like, keep a little bit of that tinting in the windows if you like that. But yeah. And then I have no idea what's behind these, behind the glass here.
It's like almost like a waterfront shop area.
Gotcha. Which seems like it would make sense. I was gonna say, like, if you do anything with these and you make this clear, just like make sure that it makes sense. But yeah. Cool. All right. Any other comments for this? All right. Did I miss anybody's project?
I was late on my submission because I just finished the renders like 10 minutes before class.
Gotcha. Do you want me to download your thing real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet. Wait, I know your name, but what's your name? Soren. Why? Wait. You are in my section 2 class, yeah?
Say that again?
You're in my section 2 class?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Why do I not? Oh. Wait for it. Aha. Ah, yes, good. That was weird. It didn't show up in the thing. That's stupid. All right. Cool, cool. All right, so while that's downloading, well, it's pretty much downloaded. Anybody have any like questions about, policy when anything's due, grading stuff? Hmm?
For the website pages or like that folder you want us to have,
Yeah.
do you want our textures as well?
Textures, I do not care about. I was mostly just shooting for like reference images of your objects in case something looked weird. I need to like refer to the textures. All right, cool. So anything we should know before we do crit?
I guess two things. One, I was having, because some of the models, I was having trouble like referencing them or like naming them. I spent a lot more time on that, so the lighting kind of messed up after I put on like an HDRI. For some reason,
Okay.
I put it on. Not only did it like, I darkened a lot of the lighting, but
Yeah.
it also didn't appear outside the windows. I felt like
That's weird.
when I used the HDRIs for other projects, like I didn't have to flip any switches. It just kind of automatically appeared when I rendered, but
It should.
it didn't. So
Interesting. All right, so mostly just like the HDRIs were being weird and or didn't show up behind the window.
Yeah, because I was like, I had the picture. I probably should have done that earlier. But that was one of the last things I did. Like, I didn't really have time to change anything.
Right. No. All right, let me open these in Photoshop. That's fair. So was that the render that we were just looking at? Was that with or without HDRIs in the background?
All of them have like the HDRI.
It's just not showing up. Okay, cool. I was just wondering if it was like still like a dome light for most of the light, or if it actually had. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. So any initial thoughts and comments on any of these?
The barrel table type things look a little too shiny.
Well, that's not my one.
They are a little shiny. It might be good to like just take down the shininess a little bit. That could just be one of those things where it, like whatever map was on it in the whoever made it in their scene, it just sort of looks different in a different scene with different lighting. That's not at all uncommon. But yeah, so maybe just like bump that down a little bit. I do agree that it's a little bit shiny. I like how the tables are barrels. It feels like it'd be really hard to sit at them. But it is a very cute concept. I also like the way you've sort of rotated these to make them a little bit like off-center does, I think, play pretty nicely. Yeah. Anything else?
Oh yeah, for this image right here, like I said, because I was like, I got some objects like an hour before like
Oh, jeez.
due.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of like, once everything was set up, I'm like, I started doing all the renders, and each render took probably like, I'd say probably around 10 minutes. And so there was like 12-ish rendered, so
Yeah.
basically,
Fair.
so in this one, you can obviously see there's like a gap for the door.
Yeah.
For the one that's nighttime, like I just changed it around a little bit so it didn't look like there was a gap.
Gotcha.
That was just one big thing.
It looks like the door is maybe just slightly larger.
Yeah, I just like
Interesting.
scaled it up so that it would
Yeah.
fit better inside.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I think like overall the scene looks nice. Like, it seems like from any given angle, it's sort of like a believable, well-populated space. I like this wagon wheel a lot. I don't know why. It's cute, and the chandeliers are also nice. Whoever.
Yeah, one thing that I tried to do, one thing that I thought was weird. So I had this problem before when referencing objects. Maybe it had something to do with like it being one of my partner's objects and something happening. But I tried to. I want to populate the scene a little bit more. Maybe like adding some like. So Becky, she like go back to that other render that you just went through.
This one?
Like she has like this thing with like a bunch of shelving units and a bunch of
Yeah.
bottles and stuff.
Mhm.
And I wanted to like take some of the bottles and like scatter them on like tables
Yeah, that'd be cute.
and stuff, but
Yeah, you can see 'em down
like,
here.
considered it all one object. And
Oh.
whenever I tried to do like to separate, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't separate them. And so it just
That's
included that
stupid.
all as the same object.
That's super weird. Stupid hack for that, import it as like an OBJ, select the faces of one bottle, shift and then just like marquee select, basically invert your selection, and just delete all of the extra faces. Then you only have the bottle and it can't complain. That's really weird though. Normally mesh separate does work fairly nicely. But yeah, as long as if you can like double click on one of the bottles and it selects only that bottle, you should be able to just like delete everything else by brute force of just getting rid of all the faces. And then just, keep bringing the object back in and doing that for whatever you want from it. But yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I mean, I think also the difference between like day and night lighting looks pretty good to me. I think like this, I would believe this is like a very sort of lit by like candles and like a few lights on the ceiling. It's like a very warm light. And then this is like very sort of bright and shiny and like brighter. And there's one of the scenes, it was like really nice. So I mean, it's still like night scene, but like you have nice sort of like reflections and stuff off of this area. I think it was like this render. The way the light plays across the surfaces here, I think looks really nice. I think for this one, it might be nice to get just like a little bit, maybe throw like a really subtle like blue light or something for like moonlight on the outside. Because you do have like nice detail in the doors and stuff like that. That's kind of being lost, just because it's black. But I think I do like the angle a lot. It is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, originally when like I said with the HDRI, like I kind of inserted like last minute. Whenever I did my normal day and night lighting, I had my own like I didn't do color temperature. I actually just did the color, but I forgot like once you put in the HDRI, you put it in the same slot.
Yeah.
As the color, so
Doesn't super make a
that's why
difference.
it
Gotcha.
also color and
Gotcha. I mean, I don't think it was like harmed. I think this looks like perfectly nice. But yeah, cool. I think most of the stuff I would work on with this, if you wanted to do a resubmit, would be maybe just like, again, lightening this area, not a lot, but just like a little bit in the night render. Taking down the glossiness of these barrels, and then I think honestly just like going through, and if you're gonna like scatter some more bottles, scatter those bottles, and maybe go through for this render, like you've translated them, translated the bar stools, maybe like rotate them a little bit as well, and I think that would help.
I mean,
Oh, they are?
If it's quite reads from like because it's like an angle shot.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see maybe a little bit.
Second one, like the second one to the left.
This one.
Yeah, that one I feel like you can definitely tell that's been rotated, but I don't know.
Maybe not. I'm talking like hardcore, like 45-degree angle rotations. Like, again, kind of like up to you. I think this still like reads nicely as a scene. But yeah, cool. Any other thoughts and comments? All right. Well, with that, we have basically come to the end of crit and/or this class. So, yay, you guys are free. Yeah, and again, just resubmits and all that stuff. Due next Tuesday. If you submit it past like Wednesday, I might not see it before I grade stuff. So, cool. Have fun. Be free. Have good summers.